Lou Critelli, Steve Keblish, and Chief Russ Brooks. And the topic is term limits in the city of Utica. You guys, this has been a crazy roller coaster ride, Lou Critelli.
Well, we're pushing it one step further.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. So you might have, there's a new loophole potentially.
Right.
Because it looks like the issue is dead right now.
The legal issue is dead.
Right.
What we're trying to do is get reconsideration of that local law that we rejected in August,
right,
which would have hopefully set it up on the ballot, but didn't. And there's a law that allows us to reconsider that any time after.
Okay.
And if it's passed, we may have term limits on.
So in this case, it would be the council actually voting to return term limits.
Exactly.
The 12-year term limits. Is that right, Steve?
Back to 8.
They return it to the 8. Right. So
we've
always had
to the 8. I'm sorry.
Basic principle for ourselves that this shouldn't be a matter for them to decide. It should always be the people's decision. Well, at this point, we don't want to just give up on the issue altogether without at least trying this step.
Okay, all right.
So something you just said there, I got to ask this. I know this has been an ongoing fight, and I know the council and maybe the administration said they were looking to see what the people wanted, and they were going to expand it, and they went and expanded it on their own. And now you're fighting to get the people to have a say in this and to reduce it. But if the council acts to reduce it back to 8,
takes it back away from the people.
Again, it takes it on the people's hands. So I guess want some reaction to that.
Well, in the long term, one of my major works after this is to get that changed. So anything that comes through referendum can only be changed by another referendum. That's one of the last things I do with term limits, if we get that, because that's very important. Because as you say, if we passed it, some other council could change it back.
Sure. Yeah.
To do anything they want.
You're right, but so what you're saying, though, is what you're going to fight for is to have it in the city charter that if something was passed or rejected through referendum, the only way to change that would be through referendum again.
I think, Bill, it's going to require state law.
Okay.
So
interesting.
I've got a son that's a lawyer, and I've already told him he's got to start putting the words together.
All right.
He's got to put the words together because it's important.
I want to bring Chief Brooks into this. Obviously, this is something that you really support. These term limits, very important. And the way that this has been done, I know this has infuriated you, the way that this has happened.
Well, first of all, I want to say it's been an honor rubbing elbows and working with Lou Critelli. He is doing this exclusively for the people in Utica, and that's something that doesn't happen very often. Their will isn't supported. Yes, absolutely. I view this as voting yourself a raise, the same thing. You're voting yourself a benefit. Yeah. And these 5 council people that made this ultimate vote that were coerced politically to do this by the mayor can now do the right thing. They can do what's right and vote the right way and give it back to the people. How do you put it on the ballot and the people overwhelmingly support term limits, and then you vote against them?
Yeah.
And my wife was very active in this also, and she went to hundreds of doors, mostly in North Utica. And the people just overwhelmingly, give me that, sign it. We said we want to, correct this. So, how could I not? And it's an honor being here with, a true champion of the people in Utica, Lou Critelli.
So where do we think where do you think you go with this?
Here's what we're doing. We're going to have some robocalls to people in the city of Utica, asking them to come there Wednesday night at 7 o'clock.
This Wednesday.
We hope to load the Common Council chambers with people, and we're going to use that kind of pressure to at least change 1 or 2 votes. If we could change 2 votes, then we can solve the problem with a veto.
Right.
But we want to get it at least voted on so that we can force an issue and tell the people this is what's happened and this is why it's happened. And we're not going to let it happen again.
It would be difficult for the mayor to veto this.
I would think so.
The optics. But optics haven't seemed to matter up to this point.
He's obviously extremely arrogant and would have no problem vetoing it. Doesn't care what the people think. Strictly political.
All right.
I know he's a favorite of yours. I know that.
Thank you.
Chief Brooks, tell us how you really think, if you could, next time.
Guys,
as I said before, the city required me to go to sensitivity training, and I went 3 times.
Okay.
I'm not sure that it took, though. I'm still working on it.
You are. All right. Well, continue those efforts. You're doing a great job. So.
Let me ask you this, though. Some in the administration, the current administration, would argue you've got some momentum going for 8 years. This administration's on board with the downtown hospital. One of the arguments they make for wanting to extend his term is someone else gets elected and derails funding for and support of the downtown hospital.
This argument is not about term limits. Okay, we could have that debate, and you're starting it. This issue is about going against the will of the people, when almost 70% of the people went to the polls, cast a ballot, said they want term limits.
Yeah.
Okay, said they want term limits. This debate is not about term limits, but we can have that debate.
Here's another point. Tony Garamone and the Corporation Council people dug into legislation from 1964, but they didn't even touch the ethic question. Does that mean they have no ethical standards? And why didn't they bring this thing up? Because there's no question there are a number. I'm not sure how many of those council people will be running another 4 years.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, it's a terrible thing to think that these guys are earning more. Never mind the money. It's just the idea of the power you get in that seat, and that's what's happened. And the council people, the councilors, ignore the question. Well, we're gonna bring that out stronger and stronger.
All right. So you're asking for people to come out on Wednesday night, come out in force, very strong. If you believe in this, come out and send a message.
Right. The council meeting begins at 7, so we'd like them to be there early.
Okay.
Maybe
all
if
right.
you get a little noise.
All right. Make a little noise and send a strong message. Chief, I assume you will be there.
Absolutely. I'll be there supporting Lou.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll
he's a hero of this city.
There's no doubt about
need
it.
More people like him.
And
He's not there for anybody but the people, and that's a rarity.
that is a rarity in this world today.
Bill, thank you for having us here
All
today.
right. Wednesday, 7 o'clock.
Right.
Get there before the meeting. So,
Right.
all right. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it.